In this week's episode of Working with Work, it's all about you have enough time. Hello and welcome to episode 45 of my Working with Work series. My name is Carl Pauline, and in this week's episode I want to go through something that I realise causes so many people problems because it just sucks up so much of their time that they're unable to get on with the things that they really want to do. Now, this is really related to the sense of urgency that many people have. So we have this feeling of urgency that we must complete this today, we must do that today, we must do this today, we must do that today. And when we're trying to do all these things together all at one time, the problem that we have is that everything just falls apart. And we don't get much done because we're spending all of the time stressing about not being able to get the things that we want to get done. But one of the things that is really, really important, if you really want to become a super productive person who can produce content after content after content, is you have to realize that you always have enough time. You don't have to do everything today. You can spread things out. Now, this week, my episode of Working with Todoist, I actually showed you how I plan out how I set my objectives for the week and for the month. And you'll see in that I have simple objectives that I want to complete in the week, and because I have them scheduled, I know what's going to happen. And it's one of the things that I use my calendar for. As you may know that next week on Monday, my latest book, Your Digital Life 2.0 is coming out. And in that book, I have spent this week having to get all the images and illustrations into the book and also to do the final edit. So I basically have to read through the whole book again just to make sure that everything is correct and in the right place. Now, if I think about that task, it felt like, wow, I've got a lot of work to do. Oh, this is getting really quite stressful. But the reality is when I sat down and looked at my calendar and I scheduled in time throughout the week for me to get on and do that particular work, then I realized that, hey, I actually have enough time. And sure enough, when this book is published on Monday, when it's launched on Monday, you will find that the book is complete. I was able to schedule the time, I was able to find the time, but this is where the calendar comes in handy. You do always have enough time, but you need to be able to focus yourself on the task at hand. So what I'm really saying is, if you have a very, very important project that must be completed, stop trying to think about all the little things that you have to do to get the project complete, but just schedule time in your calendar to sit down and get it done. After all, the project has to be done, whether you like it or not. You've got to get the project done. If the deadline is on Monday and it's now Friday night at 6 p.m. and you haven't done enough, then you're going to have to sacrifice part of your weekend to get that project done. That's just life. You can't sort of like say to yourself, oh, it's weekend, I'm not going to work. I will get up at 5 a.m. on Monday morning and do it. That's not a good way of doing it, because all weekend you are going to be stressed about this project that you're going to have to wake up very early on Monday morning to get done. Don't do it that way. Just schedule time over the weekend to sit down and get it done. That's all you have to do. It is actually quite simple, but use your calendar to schedule blocks of time to be able to get these really important projects done. After all, they're very, very important. Now, that's related to work, but what about your personal life? Well, when it comes to your personal life, this is one of the areas that we generally often neglect, and yet actually our personal life is what brings us the most happiness. And what I would suggest you do, that you also block off time for your personal life too. Now let's imagine that you want to go out for dinner with your spouse, your partner, your girlfriend, your boyfriend or whatever on Friday night. I would actually say schedule that in your calendar and make sure that you leave work at 6 or 5:30 on Friday evening, come what may. When you've scheduled it into your calendar and when you know that you have to leave work at 5:30 or 6 p.m. on Friday evening, you will get all your work done. It just works like that because your mind is doing the work for you. It's saying, right, I have to finish this today by 6 p.m. You will finish it. But if you sort of say, oh, I've got to go out for dinner, oh, I've got all this work to do, oh, I've got to do this, oh, I've got to do that, then I can promise you, you will not get to your dinner appointment on time. You are going to be way too stressed and you're going to spend way too much time stressing about things that you can control. What you need to do is to be sort of sit down and say, right, this is what I'm going to do today. This is the time I'm going to finish today. And tonight I'm going to have a beautiful dinner with my gorgeous wife, in my case, or your handsome boyfriend in your case. Whichever way you do it. But the thing is that you need to set those time limits. Now, we're not talking about having to finish absolutely on time every night of the week. But for those times that you really want to make sure that you're spending with your family, with your friends, then schedule the time in your calendar and make it non-negotiable. The thing is, our brains are pretty impressive things. And they will tell you, they will subconsciously make sure that you get the busy work done. But you don't want to be focusing on the busy work. You want to be focusing on the most important tasks and blocking time out that you're going to spend exclusively on those kind of tasks. And that's really what it is. But the other thing I really want to do, and I should finish on this, is you always have more time than you actually think. The last few weekends I've been doing a few videos, voiceover work for a client of mine, and yes, sure enough, they wanted edits and re-edit and edit and redos and change this and change that. And each weekend I kept saying to myself, okay, this weekend I'm going to focus on writing the book. And then on Friday they would send me an email saying, could you change this, could you change that? And I had to re-record the whole thing. Yeah, sure, that's coming on. And but the funny thing is okay, when I sat down on Friday evening and did my daily mini review, I scheduled the time to do the edits. I also scheduled time to write the book, and sure enough, it all got done on time. We always have more time than you think, but it will always come back that if you leave it in your head will expand the time that you need to do something, and you'll get stressed and you'll feel overwhelmed and you'll feel panicky and you will not enjoy your free time. So what you've got to do is, okay, you've got to sit down on your daily mini review, decide what you're going to do tomorrow and block the time off. Now, I'm not saying that you should block off the whole day to do something unless it is vitally important that you get it finished. But what you can do is you can sit down and you can focus in on the things that are really important and not just work. I would say you also do the same discipline for your personal life too. Okay, hopefully you found this motivational, inspirational, maybe not, but at least a little bit useful. Okay, thank you very much for watching this episode. It just remains for me now to ask you that if you like this episode, please click on the like button below. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please subscribe. Okay, it just remains now for me to wish you all a very, very productive week. And don't forget, on Monday, my Your Digital Life version 2.0 is coming out. So please, guys, keep your eyes open for that. I'll be putting it on my blog. It'll be out there. You can buy it on Amazon, iBookstore, or directly from my website, whichever way you do. And if you really want to get in touch with your digital life, then this is the book for you. A perfect time of the year. Just coming to the end of the year. Great time to read it. You'll have plenty of time over the holiday season. So go ahead and get yourself a copy of the book. Thank you very much for watching. I wish you all a very, very productive week.